soul in a wonderland without angels. That is how I feel when the mirror shows me a stranger.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We have a few DIYs for today, so let's get started. This first one, you're going to need a mason jar, this mason jar soap dispenser attachment, some food coloring, a bowl, some Mod Podge, some newspaper to cover your workspace, an oven safe pan, and I put some newspaper over it and it turned out to be fine. So I'm just going to lay out my newspaper here, and you're also going to need 1 teaspoon of water, and all I could find was 1/4 teaspoon. That's why you see me putting in 4. And then you're going to need 2 teaspoons of Mod Podge. You can add whatever color food coloring you prefer. I just chose green, and I ended up putting 5 drops in there and then mixing it all together. So what you're going to do is take your mason jar and you're going to pour the Mod Podge in that, and then you're going to swirl it around to make sure that you coat evenly the whole jar. Now just make sure that you clean everything off of the outside, and getting this on your fingers, it does stain, but it doesn't last too long. It'll wash off after a few hand washes. I let my jar sit for 3 minutes to make sure that all of the excess dripped out, and during that time I moved it around so not much would get accumulated on the rim. So once we're done, my alarm just went off. Once we're done, we're going to take a paper towel and just get the excess off of the rim. It'll leave like a gooey little substance. So now it's time to put it in the oven. I'm going to put it on my tray here, and make sure you put it on the right shelf. We're going to preheat our oven at 200 degrees. Don't do this before or your oven will be too hot for your glass. We're going to start with 10 minutes because I wasn't sure how long it was going to take. Then I'm going to check it after 10 minutes, and then I ended up putting it back in for 10 more minutes because how you want it, you want it to be clear. So you can kind of see it looks a bit cloudy, so it's not quite done yet. So I put it in for 10 more minutes, and then we'll check it again. So now it's perfect. It's nice and clear. There's no extra goop on the inside. It did leave a little around the rim that I just took and wiped with the wet paper towel. And here's how it looks up close. I think it looks so cool. I let it cool down before I put the soap in. So now for just this attachment, it's pretty easy. I just got this at Michael's. So I'm putting in my soap, and then this thing attaches. You just screw it on, and then with the lid it comes with, it holds itself in place. So here's my new little soap dispenser. I love it so much more than the one that soap comes in. I think it looks so much more fancy and just gives a better look to my kitchen. So let's move on to the next painted knife block. So this is going to be pretty easy. You probably already have a knife block, and if you're tired of it, you can spruce it up with a coat of paint. So I'm just laying out some paper to cover my workspace, and since mine isn't new, I'm just going to go ahead and wipe it off, make sure that there's no like grease or anything on it. And then I am just going to paint mine purple. You can choose whatever color you want. Purple just happens to be my favorite color. And I'm not doing a thick layer. I still want you to kind of see the grain of the wood. And so I'm just going to give that a quick coat, let it dry, and then put the knives back in. And I think this one turned out awesome. Alright, let's move on to some dinosaur fridge magnets. These are super fun and cool. So, I will say that this one was a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. So if you do have like a table saw or a jigsaw, that would be so much better than a bread knife, or even if you had an electric knife. I did end up cutting my finger here, so please be very careful with this. But I think the result, it was worth it. So all I'm doing is I'm cutting these little plastic dinosaurs in half that I found at the Dollar Tree or online for pretty cheap. So I just cut those in half. You can use the heads and the rears if you want. I ended up using both. And I have these little magnet sheets that you get from like restaurants or whatever, fast food places that have like their prices and stuff on it. So I'm just cutting this and I'm going to super glue it, or hot glue rather, to the back of the dinosaurs. And I found the easiest way to do this was take a magnet thing, or a piece of magnet that was bigger than the dinosaur thing itself. So then when you have it super glued on, you can just go around and cut the excess off. Look at how cool these things turned out, guys. You do have to make sure that the backs are really flat or they won't stick on. As you saw, this one here, I did not get flat enough and it wouldn't stick on. So I do think these turned out really cool. You could use farm animals. I just happen to be obsessed with dinosaurs. So here they are on my fridge, and then I'll show you what they look like mixed in with the rest of my magnets. Here they are. So I think these turned out super cool, and I think you should give it a try. Just be careful. So the next is this hanging vase, mason jar vase. So what you're going to need is some hot glue, and then these two wood looking pieces were actually from a picture frame, like the backing of a picture frame, but you can go to like Michael's and get like flat balsa wood sheets and it'll be the same thing. And I had got these hose clamp things to secure them on, but they didn't end up being the right size, so make sure that you get the right size if you want to do it that way. So I just ended up hot gluing them on, and it ended up working. So I'm just going to put the rim back on, and then I have these flowers that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut them to size to fit. So what's nice about this, you can use fake flowers or you can use real flowers, and it's so easy to change them up for the seasons. So to hang these up, you could definitely use some nails or whatever to hang them, but I have these sticky Velcro dots that are easy to take on and off because I am sticking them to my cabinets, and I didn't really want to nail a hole into the side of my cabinet, so I'm sticking these on there, and it actually worked and held really well, and it's easy to take off if you want to take it down and change out the flowers. And this, I think, was a cool little place for these to go. Next, let's make a tissue paper flower garland. I've been wanting to make a flower or a garland in general for so long, so I thought tissue paper would be the easiest thing to use. So I got this at the dollar store, and I'm just laying out the colors how I want it to look when I hang it up. So I'm gonna lay this out, make sure it's relatively straight, and then cut it. I only ended up using one of the strips that I cut. It ended up being more than enough, so you don't have to sit there and cut 5 million little flowers out. Now I'm going to cut this strip into smaller strips, and then I'm just going to lay them out. And then how I found it was easiest, I couldn't freehand a flower very well, but if you can, you don't need to take the extra step. But I'm going to take a pencil and just draw a flower so then I can cut it out easier. And then I'm going to string it on to a needle and thread. You'll see how I do it. It's turned out to be so easy, and it honestly didn't end up taking that long. Decide where you want to hang your garland, and I started on one side and I did a nail, and then I tied my string around it just a few times and then nailed it back in so it was secure. I took my thread and I tried to measure how far I wanted it, like how far I wanted it to hang down, and then I just wrapped it around the other nail and hammered that back in so it was nice and secure, and then spread them out. And that was it. It was super easy, and you can do any color, you can do different shapes, you don't have to do flowers. And I just think it was a cool little way to spruce up your blinds or your window. Okay, so the last DIY that I have for you is a playoff of like the super expensive individual letters that you can buy and hang. So what I'm doing is I'm starting by measuring how tall and wide I want my letters to be, and then I'm tracing it out on this foam board. You can't really see because I'm using pencil, but I'm just going to draw out the letters that I know that I want. I ended up wanting to spell fresh, so I'm putting that on this foam board. You can do any word that you want. I just thought because it's a kitchen, you eat a lot of fresh stuff. I don't know. I am just going to put all those letters on here, and then I'm going to cut them out. I have X-Acto knife, and then I have some scissors. It worked out to where I could use the scissors to cut out most of it, and then the X-Acto knife to do like the small things that I couldn't get my scissor in. So just use both. It's definitely easier. I hate using this X-Acto knife with this foam board. It took so long. So when you can use your scissors, it's definitely easier. paint each of my letters. I chose some colorful colors to brighten up my kitchen. You can do the same colors if you want. I just really like color, and I feel like my kitchen was lacking that. That's why a lot of my DIYs were so colorful. So I'm just going to paint these, and then I'm going to hang them up, and I'll show you how I did that when I'm done. I just wanted to say that I spent 6 hours filming all these DIYs for you, and I worked so hard at editing this video. So if you do like it, please don't forget to give me a like, and if you like more of my videos, then please subscribe to my channel. I just hit 400 subscribers, and when I get to 500, I want to do a giveaway for you guys. So I'm already planning it. I already have some of the stuff, and I've already picked out all the other stuff. So please help support my channel by subscribing and liking and commenting. I would appreciate it greatly. And I already appreciate so many of you that have taken the time to subscribe and to watch my videos. It honestly means the world to me when I see that I have a new subscriber, that I have a comment, that you guys are loving my videos. So please, I love interacting with you guys. Thank you so much for everybody already who is out there and doing that. I appreciate you guys so much. So anyway, now that I'm done, I wanted to hang these with like sticky tack, but I couldn't get the foam to stick to the sticky tack. So I ended up just nailing them in with little bitty like tack nails. They were so small that you couldn't even see it. And if you do, you can go back over with a little bit of paint on your finger to hide the nail. But I'm just going to hang these up, and I think these look super cool. My husband said that they were his favorite DIY that I did this day, so I was pretty impressed with myself. Alright, here's a little overview of how everything looks after it's all put in. I think this turned out so cool. My favorites were honestly the soap dispenser and the fridge magnets and the fresh sign. I just love everything honestly though, but those are my top 3 favorites. I love how my kitchen turned out, and I really hope that this gave you some inspiration for your own house. Even if you don't end up using them in your kitchen, you can find other ways to use these. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!